Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. We have the Democrat Party's candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr., coming out and again making some statements that probably will again show that he is unelectable by some standards. Why? Because he's talking about that word called peace. So you can't have that. Obviously, when you talk about the U.S. military-industrial complex, who's having a blast right now, but nevertheless, he comes and says that he calls for peace with Russia and China and a fair competition, economic competition. Nothing wrong with that. But I said from the very beginning that he sounds good, but these guys are going to jump on him. And let's see what Sputnik, the Russians, report on Kennedy's statements. It is from today, the 5th of June 2023. Robert Kennedy calls for peace with Russia, China as part of his presidential campaign. Democratic candidate for U.S. President Robert Kennedy Jr. said on Monday that he wants to have peace with Russia and China and focus on competing on the economic platform. And I'm quoting, "Let's have peace with Russia, let's have peace with China, and let's all enjoy the prosperity of healthy economic competition," Kennedy said. The Chinese do not want to have war with the US, they just want to provide better living standards for their people, he added. Kennedy also believed that the Ukrainian crisis is a proxy war. Oh my, you're in deep doo-doo. And regarding this, a lot of countries and leaders want to provide better living standards for their people. Now, methods are just different, if you know what I mean. Even the Germans want the same thing during the Second World War, and they want to provide, Lebensraum, like living space, and so on. So I don't know about that. This is so general, like, hey, I like change, or do the right thing. What do you mean? What's the right thing for you might not be the same for me. Anyway, the Democratic candidate for president spoke on Twitter Spaces after being invited by Elon Musk. Elon Musk has started housing U.S. presidential candidates on his Twitter Spaces to promote free speech. A week ago, the entrepreneur hosted Republican presidential candidate Ron DeSantis, who announced his bid on Twitter and collected $8.2 million, a record amount of contributions for his campaign. Well, as much as I still like Kennedy Jr., he's got two strikes already against my liking, and the strikes are concerning. Let's put it in a weasel way. They're concerning. It seems like he's not. He seems like he's going to sell himself to some interests that are not beneficial to the United States of America, and that's to the extent I will leave this. And for me, it's concerning because there's two things that I noticed. One, he was asked a question by a guy. I watched that, and about something, and he immediately defended his actions, and he changed his mind. The name that should not be spoken or something. And then the other one was a picture with some individuals that I was like, okay, well, free world, free country, but that gives me a little bit of a, some people might say, bad vibe. Hey, that's me. I'm entitled to have that. Why? Because I'm a free person. Am I? No, don't take me. Anyway, so yeah, he wants peace with... It's concerning. I think he might go, for my liking, too much to the left. He's got Denis Kucinich as his campaign manager. And Denis Kucinich, I think he was very much to the left in economic practices, if I remember correctly. But I might be wrong. But another statement that Kennedy made today that was obviously frowned upon was, and I read an article, skimmed through it, I don't need to read all the bullshit, just a title and go down. He said that obviously they were looking down on Kennedy. He blamed the mass shootings in here in the United States of America on the antidepressants. And that was not what the Big Pharma wanted to hear, and people who are sponsored by Big Pharma. Therefore, we had some bad articles against or on Mr. Kennedy. He was obviously called an anti-vaxxer and all that. Obviously, again, to give bad connotations towards him. And since he's an anti-vaxxer, that means he's against the Big Pharma. Therefore, you know, he's a cuckoo head. Basically, that's the connection. And some people know better. So anyway, my friends, he wants peace. Well, I hope he doesn't have his campaign song imagined by John Lennon. I hope not, because if he has that one, then he's a communist for me, and I don't like communists. Why? I don't like communism. But people who support communism are communists, and people who are communists usually are just with this, communists, because communism, you know, requires a lot of things that a lot of people who think they are communists are not eager to do. You know, it's like the same with many Democrats that I know, or so-called liberals. They're not liberals because a liberal is for liberté, freedom, and they are with the big government. Anyway, you need order and discipline, but it's a point beyond which you become a tyrant. And I'm very concerned with that side. And the other side is almost as the other side is a little bit to the right, a little bit, but it's on the left. So the Republicans are on the left, but are on the right a little bit of the Democratic Party, or Democrat, however you want to call it. So anyway, my friends, this is Kennedy. I think for me, is losing points. And we have another guy jumping in, and that is, that's a communist. He starts another party, the Party of the People or so on. Now, that's not only a communist, because he forms a third option or something, Party of the People, which I think he doesn't mean these people. Because I heard him talk. I'm going to make a video probably on that guy. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.